The JW Speaker 8900 is arguably the best 5x7 LED headlight replacement in the world. Today, I'm happy to announce the JW Speaker 8910 with dual burn light output and smart heat technology. For a decade, the JW Speaker 8900 LED headlight has been the best of the best, selling thousands worldwide. Today, we're happy to have the 8910 to show you all the new updates on the model. The 8910 has a new aggressive style and look on the inner bezel. You can see new curves and new lines for a more aggressive and appealing look versus the old model. Don't be fooled, there's a lot of knockoffs of the JW Speaker product lines out there, but only the real deal from Wisconsin are the best of the best. The new 8910s will replace any glass sealed beam 5x7 or 7x6 headlight housing like this one from Wagner. It's the part number H6054. This is found in semi-trucks, industrial vehicles, cars and trucks from the 70s, 80s, 90s, buses, and a host of other different applications. If you have this type of a headlight on your rig, you can replace it safely and easily with the JW Speaker LED 8910 for more light output and better safety and better style. It's really a fantastic upgrade. As you can see, the shape is specifically designed to replace the original sealed beam housing, and the low depth allows it to fit in any 5x7 application. The connector coming off the JW Speaker headlight is an H4 style 3-prong connector, which perfectly mimics the original connector on the sealed beam headlight for a completely plug-and-play application. As you can see on the back side of this housing, you have heat sink fins for maximum heat dissipation. We have a moisture vent to make sure there's no condensation buildup inside the housing. And then the wiring that comes off the back is secured with a cable tie and has a waterproof exit from the housing. The connection is a high quality OEM style H4 connector, and it has a separate wire for the daytime running light or position light, which we'll talk about next. When you plug in the 3-prong connector into your vehicle, you also have the extra red wire coming off the back, and that powers the small little LED in the center of the headlight housing. This can act as a daytime running light or position light or whatever you want. You can hook it up to a switch on the dash, your ignition, your parking lights, whatever you want to power that light. However you want this little DRL to function is up to you. Or you can leave it completely disconnected. So it uses the ground signal from the original wiring and then a second power trigger to turn on that single small white LED. Sometimes in different markets these are mandatory or optional, like in the US. Now when we turn on the low beam, you can see we have the top 3 projectors lit up. That's your main left to right beam pattern with the low beam hotspot. And traditionally, in 8900 headlights in the past, when you go to high beam, that would shut off. Today, with the JW Speaker dual burn lighting technology, when you go to high beam, you get the full force of all projectors. The top row and the bottom row all turn on for an extra punch down the road, greater width during high beam, and more visibility. This is a massive improvement and something we're super excited about for this new model of headlight. The third major upgrade to the new JW Speaker 8910 is the smart heat system built in to the lens of the headlight housing. They now have a custom designed heater grid built into the polycarbonate lens that is triggered automatically by a temperature sensor located at the bottom of the headlight housing. It's completely automated. When you plug it into your headlight and your headlight is turned on, this smart heat sensor will automatically turn on and off at different temperature thresholds. That means when you are driving in icy conditions, you're going to have a lot of heat, and when you're driving in warm conditions, you'll have little to no heat. You'll know that it's working when the little LED light on the front of the housing turns on, indicating that the smart heat sensor is activated. In the comparison, we're setting up each headlight at 25 feet, powered by a 14 volts DC power supply, and using a digital lux meter for comparison's sake. These lux meters are only good for comparing one headlight to the other in the same test. The low beam on this halogen headlight sealed beam H6054 creates 490 maximum lux at the brightest point of the hotspot. The beam pattern is absolutely tiny, and the hotspot doesn't look all that usable. It's not very bright, it's not very wide, and it's a terrible looking color. Now watch what happens when we go to high beam. The high beam comes in at 690 maximum lux, 200 more than the low beam. The beam pattern is still not very wide. You get some more vertical light output, and it's a little bit brighter. Now let's compare this to the JW Speaker 8910. The JW Speaker 8910 low beam is phenomenal. Look at that width, the color is absolutely perfect, and the low beam brightness is almost as bright as the halogen high beam. This thing comes in at 550 maximum lux at the brightest point versus the OEM halogen at 490. However, we have more brightness further out from the middle, more light further out to the sides, and a higher beam. This thing would be an astronomical improvement over stock, even though the hot spot isn't necessarily massively brighter. It's going to be a huge upgrade in every aspect. When we go to the high beam featuring the new dual burn technology, this is where the JW Speaker 8910 really shines. The original halogen high beam came in at 690 maximum lux at 25 feet. The JW Speaker 8910 comes at a staggering 1,620. That's over twice as bright as the original headlight. Not to mention, this beam pattern is epic. Have you ever seen something so incredibly useful, so incredibly bright? Look at it compared to the original halogen high beam. This versus this, it's like you're running with a light bar. This is an absolutely amazing high beam. If you're looking for a replacement for your sealed beam 5x7 or 7x6 headlight housing, the choice is simple. The 8910 is the best of the best. We've got them for sale on the website at www.headlightrevolution.com. They're made in America. They got a great warranty. And if you want more pricing and information, check out the link in the description below the video. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.